What's going on, Celtics fans? Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I've had this thought lingering for quite a while now, knowing that Kristaps Porzingis had surgery in June. He's going to be out for 5 to 6 months, and we have already known what the Boston Celtics center depth already looks like. Al Horford, Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta, the list goes on and on. But how confident are we in the Boston Celtics center rotation without Porzingis? We're going to break that down here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I'm Allie Barefoot, and thankfully / unfortunately, I'm the only female in this office, and all month long in September, we have a like battle amongst all channels here at Chat Sports. Look, man, I'm already in the minority. I got to just show all these guys out. If you want to help me out, help out the Boston Celtics fans, because we are still the NBA champs. I got a lot of Heat fans out there, Knicks fans out there. If you guys want to win, all you have to do is like this video and every other video all September long. Let's go ahead and take one quick look here at the Celtics center depth with Kristaps Porzingis. Al Horford is now your starting center. Luke Kornet goes to be your backup. Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta. You got J.D. Walsh in there as well, but I'm really looking at these four guys. But let's go player by player. Al Horford, who we all know and love, who I honestly thought was going to retire after he got that ring, said, nope, I'm sticking around. The Dominican father of 5 that we love, he played 65 games last season, and he averaged 26.8 minutes per game in the championship run. He is 38 years old. I'm 25 and can't even convince myself to go work out for 30 minutes, let alone play 65 games. But unfortunately, we do know that when it comes to Al Horford, can't really play back-to-back games. Naturally, he needs time to rest. Even this stat here from the NBA does show you that he plays better with 2 days of rest, 5 days of rest, as anybody would. But Joe Mazzulla had this beautiful recipe for Boston Celtics centers of Kristaps Porzingis playing on a Tuesday. Back-to-back, Kristaps Porzingis sits, Al Horford plays. He sits on Tuesday, vice versa. Because Kristaps Porzingis is made of glass, Al Horford, he's super old. So, without Kristaps Porzingis, a lot is now riding on Al Horford. So, I have one quick question to ask you guys here. Should he and will he play more than 65 games this NBA season? Porzingis played 50. Al Horford played 15 more games than he did. And if you think Horford and Joe Mazzulla are going to play more than 65 games this season, type Y for yes, type N for no. Let's go to the much younger, but in my opinion, not as good backup center as Al Horford. Let's talk about Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet, who did just sign a 1-year deal to stick with the Boston Celtics in NBA free agency. I personally think that was just because of the Kristaps Porzingis injury news. You got to have Luke Kornet in there. Now you got another backup that's not just Al Horford. Luke has really shown that he can play in the playoffs, even though Joe Mazzulla didn't trust him as much. But Luke isn't much of a starter. So that's where it kind of comes into play of taking a really big step here for Kornet, is that he only started 7 games for the Boston Celtics last season, but in the 42 games he started in his career, he's averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, so it's not a bad stat line for a center that you know you're not going to get Porzingis numbers. That's why Porzingis is the unicorn. And when he has started those 7 games, it normally came when Kristaps Porzingis had an injury, and Al Horford had to sit when it came to back-to-back. So looking ahead, I think Luke Kornet is going to have double-digit starts this season for the Boston Celtics. But there was one game that came to my mind when I'm thinking of Luke Kornet last year, and I'm thinking of the time when they played the Cleveland Cavaliers in round 2 of the NBA playoffs. Luke Kornet extremely showed what he can do against a top team in the NBA Eastern Conference in an NBA playoff situation. He had 10 rebounds, 4 points, which Kornet's not always been the greatest shooter and the greatest scorer. 2 assists, and then he tagged on 2 blocks as well. That's going up against Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He showed that he can be trusted when it comes to high-stakes games. So I'm not 100% sold on Luke Kornet just yet as a starter and a primary center for the Celtics while Porzingis is out, but he has shown me that he can handle the workload. And with that workload, I'm going to have to predict him to have more than 20 minutes per game. Obviously played under 20 minutes per game this season for the Boston Celtics, but you take Porzingis out of the rotation, you give them a back-to-back, and it looks like Luke Kornet is going to have to start playing more basketball. But thankfully, he's been working out. He's been preparing all summer long for the Boston Celtics to be able to get this job done while Porzingis is in rehab and hopefully can come back in 2024, but it may not be until early 2025. But we do still have one more player I want to talk about. Neemias Queta we'll touch on, but I really want to talk about Xavier Tillman more so on the back half of the show. But before I hop into the other Boston Celtics rotation pieces, I want to tell you guys about the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America. I'm talking about Prize Picks. You guys can play with over 5 million active members, and it's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's unlike any other apps. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch those winnings roll in, baby. And here's the best time of the year, rolling in this weekend. In my opinion, my football season doesn't start until I've got Thursday through Monday filled with football. So I went on ahead and put my Prize Picks in for this upcoming weekend. Prize Picks is handing you Caleb Williams. 1 passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free wins. Don't miss a deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. Kyler Murray also having more than 33.5 rushing yards, and Trey Hendrickson going up against the Patriots more than 1 sack. So if you guys want to go ahead and get started on Prize Picks, download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS, and you'll get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Xavier Tillman picked up by the trade deadline last year, 25-year-old Tillman. He definitely had some moments where I thought his defense was a little bit too slow to be playing alongside the fast-paced defense of the Boston Celtics, but he stepped up in a huge game for Boston. Game 3 of the NBA Finals, only playing 11 minutes. And in my opinion, this man locked Luka up. 3 points, not so much on the offensive side, but that was a 3-point shot that he made. 4 boards, 2 blocks in 11 minutes, and he was +9 in the plus-minus when he only played 11 minutes with the Boston Celtics in a crucial must-win Game 3 versus the Dallas Mavericks. Overall for the Boston Celtics, when he was picked up by the NBA trade deadline, he only played 20 games last year for the C's. He didn't even play in the first game or second game in the NBA Finals. Actually, was did not participate. Coach's decision, so Joe Mazzulla didn't feel that he was necessary. And I definitely had some reserves about playing Xavier Tillman in some certain scenarios in the NBA, but 20 games played. He started only 2 games last year. I don't see him starting really many games in the first half of the NBA season unless some injury happened to Luke Kornet, and he averaged 13.7 minutes per game. I'm going to up that a little bit. Now with Kristaps Porzingis out, I'm going to average Xavier Tillman to have 16 minutes per game. You got to give Luke Kornet, got to give Al Horford some rest. Plus, Xavier Tillman is a very different center. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are taller than Xavier Tillman. So he's got more of a stockier build, but doesn't have the height that I personally love in the paint. Then you got Neemias Queta, who also signed an extension here with the Boston Celtics in free agency. Neemias Queta, I think he's just going to get a great rim protector when he does come in. He's got the size. He's throwing in some muscle mass in the paint overall. Neemias Queta last season, I just need to see a little bit more from him in terms of his growth. I just thought that he had some growing pains, was making some lackluster decisions, but I do think that he has a promising future ahead of him, and it's going to be really important to see what he can do here for the Celtics while Kristaps Porzingis is out. But I have a question for you guys before I hop out of here. How confident are you in Boston's center depth? Or do you guys think the Boston Celtics need to go out there and sign an NBA free agent because you don't trust Kornet, Tillman, Horford, and Queta? Scale it 1 to 10. As always, hit that like button for me. We're in a month-long like battle amongst all channels. So go on ahead, hit that thumbs up.